Well, hello, folks. A change from our bathroom remodel today. Today is the first day of spring, so we're going to talk about planting. Now, of course, we're facing a nor'easter tomorrow, so spring is going to be delayed. But what I want to do is what I typically do with my garden is there are certain plants that I will start indoors that can't be just set out, or the growing season here isn't long enough. So what I've done the last few years, I buy a number of seedlings from a local nursery, but there's still a couple that I like to plant myself. I found that broccoli seems to do better than some of the plants that we've got, so I've got some broccoli to plant, and then there are a couple varieties of the smaller tomatoes that I like to plant. So what we're going to do is we'll show you how to start seedlings in the house. You usually need about 8 weeks of growth before they can be put out. So what you do is you figure out when you think the last possible frost could happen where you live, and then go back in the calendar about 8 weeks to start your plant. So I'm right on the edge getting this done now, but I think I'll have enough time that they'll grow sufficiently to put out. A couple things I'm doing a little differently this year, new products I'm trying. Yes, I've got these fiber pots to start them in, but on clearance at Tractor Supply last fall, they had these cow pots. They're made with composted cow manure, so it's like you already have your fertilizer there to start growing. I've never used them before. I usually just use the fiber ones. So we'll see how these do. They're dry, so it's not like I'm going to get my hands dirty using them. And it does say odor-free, so we'll see. So the first step is to place them. I have this planter that I like to put them in. I have just some leftover potting soil from last year that I had in a bag. I'm just filling the bottom. I like to do that. That way you can keep them moister. It gives you kind of a moist bed underneath the pots so that they stay moist and helps with the growth. So the first step, as I said, is to just put these in the tray like this. Okay, I've got 16 empty pots in here, and I need to fill them, of course, with some potting soil. This year I'm going to try something new. Typically I just get whatever potting soil I can, but I happened to see this in the store just the other night, and it's a Miracle-Gro brand seed starting potting soil. And the difference is this is potting soil, but it also has Miracle-Gro in the soil itself, Miracle-Gro, to help the plants grow quicker. So I'm thinking that maybe between that and the cow manure in the pots, maybe my plants will grow quicker and they'll be larger when I go to put them out. So we'll see how that works. What I want to do first of all is to fill these. So all I want to do is just take my trowel here, my garden trowel, and just fill them almost full, just like that. It's not rocket science, but you want to give the seeds a good bed to grow in. And by the time these are ready to go outside, the bottom of these will be full of roots because they're going to grow in the pots. And you're going to put the whole thing right in the ground then. These fiber pots are designed to just break down when you plant them. You don't use them from year to year. And then that way your plant is kind of self-contained until it grows through the pot and becomes larger in your garden. Okay, I've got all the pots fairly full. Now I'm just going to I have these little plastic markers that I will put in so I can be reminded what I'm planting where. Now obviously a broccoli plant doesn't look like a tomato plant, but when I'm planting more than one kind of tomato, I want to figure out what I'm planting where out in the garden. And then I'll stick these right in the garden for a while until they grow up and I have a better idea what I'm dealing with. So, but I'll just use this and I'll just kind of give myself a little bit of an opening here to put my plants in. I'm going to do a dozen broccoli plants, and that'll give me 4 leftover pots here for tomato plants. I'll go 2 and 2 with these varieties. I have to get another variety of tomato yet that I get from a special place. So I won't be planting. I'll have more planting that I've got to do later in the week. Now, this is just Burpee brand. You can get them at Walmart, Tractor Supply, Lowe's, any number of places have these basic seeds. There's nothing special about them, but they do grow. And on the back, they tell you about how deep to plant them. Most of these small seeds, you plant about 1/4 inch deep. You don't want to put them in too deep or they won't germinate properly. And if you have them too close to the surface, they won't grow well either. When we get later in the year, when we get into more gardening, and you see me plant seeds right in the ground outside, we'll talk about the planting depths there. The larger seeds like the sweet corn or the beans or the pumpkins or things of that nature generally are about 1 inch deep, but you try to get as close to that as you can so that you get proper germination. Now these broccoli seeds are very tiny, as you can see. I'm just going to take maybe 3 or 4 of these per pot. Just kind of toss them in there and just cover them over with my finger. It's not difficult to do. And I always plant more plants than I really need. That way, if I don't get super germination, at least I've got a plant or 2 in each pot when I go to put them out. So all right, I've got 2 different kinds of cherry tomatoes. Both of these I got at an Agway store. I like these variety. Well, the one variety I've planted before, the Sweet 100, because they're very prolific. And I wanted to try these this year. I haven't tried those before. Red Cherry Large. So we'll see how they do. I'm going to put 2 plants of each. I've got 4 pots left here that are empty. So we'll try 2 of each in here, and maybe we'll plant a couple more later when I get my other tomatoes. So the tricky thing about cherry tomatoes, planting them, is the seeds are very small compared to even regular tomato seeds. Tomato seeds are small to begin with, but the cherry tomato seeds are even smaller. So I just don't want to put too many in each because then I'm just wasting them. But if I get a good 4 in each, then I'll get at least a couple plants will come up, I'm sure. And what we'll do is, over the next several weeks, we'll post videos and you can watch the progress as they grow. So that's 14 plants that'll go in the garden, or 16, excuse me, that'll be going in the garden. Now the only thing I need to do yet is I need to water these. I want to try to not drench them, but soak them well so that the potting soil is moist. 3 things you need to grow plants, whether you're talking indoors or outdoors, vegetables, flowers, whatever. You need water, you need light, and you need some kind of fertilizer medium to boost the growth. So I've got the fertilizer, I'm going to put the water in, and the light is going to come from the sun. I'm going to put this tray up in actually that same room where the bathroom is that we're remodeling, because it's in the southeast corner of the house, so there'll be good sunlight in there. And over the next 8 weeks, the daylight and the sunlight will help push the growth. So watch and follow along with us.